Hey, Cody, on that segment, I took James O'Keefe to task for being an unscrupulous journalist. So, how about that, Daily Show? All right, welcome to the Diamond District, everyone. Just had to throw that in. The president knows he has to help small business if he wants to see the economy recover. Well, today, meeting with Republicans in Baltimore, the president proposed a tax incentive plan for business owners if they hire more workers or increase salaries. Basically, $5,000 tax credit for every new hire. Listen to the president, what he had to say.
I've proposed a new jobs tax credit for small business. And here's how it would work. Employers would get a tax credit of up to $5,000 for every employee they add in 2010. They'd get a tax break for increases in wages as well. So if you raise wages for employees making under $100,000, we'd refund part of your payroll tax for every dollar you increase those wages faster than inflation.
Well, it sounds great, right? But will it work? Will his plan help? Small businesses can't expand if lenders aren't lending. Why don't we turn to somebody who would know? Joining me now, Hurn. He is the CEO of Mercantile Capital. While banks were making it next to impossible to get a loan, his company, his financing company, was lending over $81 million last year. Chris, welcome to the Diamond District. You heard the president. He's calling for those tax breaks for small businesses. Is this going to help? You deal with small businesses all the time.
Well, I'm not so sure it's going to help. I mean, the problem that we're still not addressing is we have a demand problem. Why would a small business, if the folks in Washington understood basic economics and were in the trenches daily, they'd understand that we have a fundamental demand problem. There's no smart small business owners going to hire just because they get a $5,000 tax credit. It doesn't make any economic sense. I mean, they're only going to hire if there's demand for their products or services. Then they'll be in a position where they want to hire. So maybe this helps some of the companies that are doing well at the moment, but unfortunately there's tons and tons of companies that aren't doing so good, and this isn't going to help them at all.
So how do we stimulate that demand there? Yes, I agree. I mean, you're kind of talking about apples and oranges, though. If a company does want to hire, yeah, that's going to make a difference, of course. But if they don't, if they don't have the demand for their products, they can't hire anyone. How do we stimulate that demand?
Well, I think it goes down to making sure that American consumers, which is about 70% of our economy, actually keep more of their earnings. I mean, that's where it starts. If more and more people kept more of their earnings, they'd be able to actually spend more of it. And we really haven't addressed that. I mean, I don't know what the numbers would work out to, but there's a much bigger population of folks that could use a outright payroll tax holiday than just a few companies that'll be in America that are actually in a hiring mode right now. I mean, it's going to make a very minimal impact, in my opinion.
But you need more than that. I mean, we tried to do that with the first stimulus, right? Sending rebate checks to people, and that didn't prevent us from getting where we ended up as well. So all of that, I guess, yeah, little baby steps. Let me talk about it specifically, your company. How are you able to lend when everybody else says they can't lend, and all these companies are saying, I can't get access to credit? What are you guys doing differently?
Well, for starters, we're a niche player. We feel like we dominate our niche. We only finance commercial property for business owners and entrepreneurs around the country. And there are a fair amount of those folks who view this as a great contrarian time to be buying commercial real estate when the valuations are down, with interest rates are near historical lows. So those folks are still, coming to us, and we have quite a bit of demand for our services. What none of the president's proposals address, and frankly, we don't address ourselves unless there was some reason for us to deal with it, is the working capital problem. I mean, there's a ton of small businesses in America that just don't have access to lines of credit, and none of the proposals thus far have actually tackled that at all, and we really haven't done much to...
Right. The only one that I've seen is the SBA, is the SBA loans, really focusing more money on that. I got to ask you this real question, and we're running out of time, but do you see a problem in the commercial real estate industry? Since you're loaning money to that industry, you don't have any problems with it?
I don't, because I only focus on small businesses buying their own commercial property, so they're owner users. On multi-tenant properties, investor properties, yeah, I think there's probably going to be some problem later this year.
Ah, interesting. Hurn, thank you very much for joining me. Come back.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
I will, certainly.